Hello everyone, this will be my last teaching memo. That's capital L-A-S-T. The holiday season is upon us and I hope you all have got your shopping done. I haven't, but I am thinking about doing it. Congratulations to all you Giants fans. I'm sure you are hoping to meet the Pats one more time before Brady retires. And who knows when that will be. The guy is a physical phenomenon. And my condolences to the Jets fans. I was at a Christmas party Saturday night, and I happened to glance at the TV and saw that they were in the game in the first half. It was like 10-7 or 10-6, and I thought, wow, they got a chance. And next thing I know, it was a blowout. So, what I have to say to you Jets fans, there's always next decade. Housekeeping. The course ends on Thursday, December 22nd. I will be closing my grade book the following Friday, December 30th. If you are planning to take an incomplete, you must have completed at least 75% of the requirements. So what I do is I count up all my assignments, and I have a lot of them, as you all know. And I take 3/4 of that, and if you've completed that and you feel like you cannot get the work done, let me know. And you have to talk to your advisors. There's a contract you have to fill out, and you have to get it all the work done by next semester. So one of the problems with it is if you haven't done the interaction with your selected response test, is if you take an incomplete, you're going to have to email your former classmates to get them to take your selected response test. So that's one of the negatives of taking a incomplete in my course. I've closed the last discussion board and thought there was some very good discussion about the differences between Mr. Jones and Marissa and Miss W, who's Emily's teacher. This formative assessment / grading discussion is a very crucial one to all current and prospective teachers. For your information, I have placed a handout in session 11, course materials, entitled 25 quick formative assessments for the differentiated classroom. Several of you commented on it, and if you are new to the process of formative assessment or just looking for some new ideas, check this out, download it, and keep it because there's some great stuff in there. You need to check your grades, make sure all of your assignments have been handed in. Once again, there are several of you that have blank spaces in session 2, the video assignment, the video quizzes. There's 3 of them. You have to go into the presentation, click on the presentation, and you take the 3 videos. So if you haven't done it, go back and do it. So make sure all your grades are handed in. For those who owe me a good deal of work, you'll be hearing from me via email. I'm mandated to have my grades submitted 10 days after the course ends. So if you foresee a problem with that, you need to take an incomplete, you must contact me as soon as possible. Session 11, the last of our topics, our units. Many of you mentioned Marissa, as I knew you would, because there are many Mr. Joneses in the teaching profession and even at Turo, which really disturbs me. Because it just amazes me that professors who are training teaching candidates did not model good assessment practices or good assignments for that matter. I used the Marissa piece, the term paper assignment, to activate your conversation about assessment for learning practices and have you go deeper than just comment on how bad Mr. Jones is or how bad your teachers were, to talk about what could have been done. And I tried to interject myself into the discussion board, talking about my course. What are some things that you've seen me do? Some things that you've experienced, like exemplars, rubrics, grading the DEJs, getting feedback on your selected response test before you have to hand it in, then getting feedback again on it from a different group. So these are powerful strategies of assessment for learning. That's why assessment for learning is more than just a formative assessment. It's a process. Actually, formative assessment is a process of a course-long feedback to answer the 3 questions students should have Where am I going? Learning targets. Where am I now? Formative assessment. How can I close the gap? Feedback. So those are powerful questions that assessment needs to answer, your formative assessment. Grading is always one of my favorite topics, and the giving of zeros that seems to evoke an evil smile in the faces of many veteran teachers or even fairly young ones. Also, the acceptance of late work and allowing students to do work over was mentioned often. I like the references many of you made to Rick Wormelli, his article and his videos. I placed the last one in session 12 course materials. It's one of a couple that he does on do-overs. Both Wormelli and Doug Reeves, in his video about toxic grading practices, argued about averaging a student's various attempts and do-overs, comparing it to a long-distance runner who doesn't get credit for his last best time because she has to average all of the previous attempts. Imagine that? So it seems kind of simple when you put it that way, but I'm also sharing an article, Saxton 2016, that mentions the effect of outliers. And that's what a zero is. If you're giving your students zero, that's an outlier. Get rid of that. That shouldn't be averaged into a grade. So take heed, my students, on the dangers of averaging. I've talked about it all semester. I don't average your grades. I wait. I average things like quizzes, but I don't average your double entry journals. I don't average your discussion boards. Your first attempts are weighted very low. Your last attempts are weighted very high. So that's what you should, if you can't put that into your grade, if you can, you should try to get that into your grade book, or if you use an electronic grade book, into that. Oftentimes, we don't see the power of allowing our students to do work over, but several of you mentioned you appreciated my practice of allowing do-overs. Just think how you feel when you know an assessment is not do or die, that if you miss something or make a mistake, you can go back and fix it, just like in a real job. So winding up, again, make sure you've handed in all of your assignments by checking the My Grades link in Blackboard. In session 12 assignments, you can upload your vocabulary in your own words and your 3-part analytic summary. Be sure to look at the exemplar 3-part analytic summaries in session 12 course materials handouts, as well as the video I created. I believe I placed it in a couple of places about how to do a 3-part analytic summary. You have to use APA format in all 3 parts, so you should have citations in all 3 parts of your analytic summary. Finally, I have made an evaluative forum available. I mentioned that last session, where you can comment. You can do it anonymously if you want. And I'm looking for both positive and negative. I'm always upgrading my course based on student feedback. Many of prospective students drop my course once they see the session 1's assignments. So, it's getting less and less because I've kind of pared it down. So let me know if you think they are too much, and if there's a way I could spread them out better. I'm open to supportive feedback. And there's also a link to the Turo course evaluation in session 10 and 11 assignments, and I'm also going to put it in my teaching memo, and I'm going to put it on the announcement page. So please, please, please take a few minutes to fill it out and add narrative comments. The numbers are great, but the narrative comments really are what I use to modify my course. If I get a 4 or I get a 1 and nothing else, it doesn't tell me anything. So, and this is the only feedback my supervisors get on their online professors. And from what some of the comments you made about your other professors, you need to go in and tell your supervisors that they're using inappropriate assessment practices, and then tell them why, because you took my course. No, don't say that. Oh, you can say that. So that's it. I wish you all well in your teaching careers. It is my hope that Dr. Tom will be in the back of your head whenever you are pondering how to improve your teaching. So thank you. I am better off for having met all of you and interacted with all of you. So thank you very much for that.